What's up, everybody? This is Alex, and this is a special Resurrection Easter Sunday brunch version of Fat Boy Chronicles. Stay tuned. All right, so it's Resurrection Sunday coming up, right? And so everybody does the traditional, a lot of people do turkey and dressing and ham and all that stuff. But we're gonna take a new my take, right? So this is not law. This is just what I'm doing. Version of an Easter brunch meal. All right, so today we're gonna make asparagus stuffed chicken breast with a Pinot Grigio cream sauce. And then we're also gonna do some stuffed lamb. All right, so check it out. This is what you're gonna need. All right, so we got a couple things. One, you're gonna need some red wine vinegar, some red wine, some olive oil, some white wine, some cauliflower, some walnuts. Well, that's what I did. I did this. I'll explain what this is in a second. Mushrooms, garlic, asparagus. I did some roasted red peppers, a lemon, some parsley, some brie, some chopped onions. I got a little rosemary, some cream, a cup of cream, and then you also need some kitchen twine. All right, and then let's go over our proteins. Well, we're gonna do a chicken breast, which we're going to butterfly, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Some bacon, and then not a true mirepoix, but we're gonna do, you do a mirepoix at your house. I ain't feel like going back out to the grocery store. So some celery, some onions, and then you'll need some carrots. I'm not using carrots this time, but I'll explain what it's for. All right, y'all, I got to bear with me. So because it's Resurrection Day, I got all my Easter hits going on in the background. But hey, worthy is the lamb. So what are we going to make? Some lamb. All right, so what we're going to make is some lamb breast, right? I had never heard of lamb breast before either, but literally the Holy Ghost told me as I was going to the grocery store, look right over there. I was looking at the leg of lamb. What I see? Lamb breast. What are we going to do with it? We're going to debone it. We're going to stuff it, right? So we're going to stuff it with something like a pesto, but it's going to be a Gremolata, right? So it's going to have everything that a pesto would have except for the Parmesan cheese because we're going to slow roast it. So first thing first, I'm going to show you how to debone it. All right, what are you all looking at? Hey, this is 3 lamb breasts, right? So I know they look like ribs. We call them breasts. I don't know why, but that's what they call them. All right, so what we're going to do, it looks kind of like ribs, right? You see this bone. We're going to cut the bone out of this, all right? And so what we're going to be left with is something like this, which we're going to be able, it's a good fatty piece of meat, which is going to lend itself to doing a lot of good slow roasting. And then we're going to fill it, like I said, with the Gremolata and roast it. But first thing first, we got to debone it. So first thing, we're going to cut the membrane off and cut this bone out, and I'll show you how to do it. All right, so this is going to be kind of difficult because I don't have a cameraman. All right, like I said before, and I had to cut off the music, man, because it was getting distracting me because, I go into a praise or something, and I got a really sharp knife and I want to cut myself. All right, so like I was saying before, all right, so we have this lamb breast. There's a bone here. So what you're going to have to do is basically take a very, very sharp knife, and then you're just going to go in right here, and you're basically just going to cut back the bone. Y'all can't see this. Cut back the bone from the breast. And then what you're going to be left with is a flank, right? So I wish I could show you the whole step, but I'm going to show you the after. All right, but it's real simple to do it. Just cut away the rib bone. Real easy. All right, we cut the bone away from the breast, and here we go. We're left with 3 breasts, and then we have these bones here. Now, somebody might say, hey, we done, right? Now, what did God say to Ezekiel? Can these bones live? Hey, we're going to prophesy to these bones and do something with them. Matter of fact, everything I'm doing is prophetic, and I'm sure, a biblical scholar will correct me. But, hey, I'm cooking prophetically as the Holy Ghost leads because I don't even honestly didn't know what I'm doing. The Holy Ghost literally told me, hey, roast these bones off and make an au jus with it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to just take these bones. We're going to set our oven to 425. And then we're going to take our mirepoix, which is our celery, our onions. And I don't have carrots. You guys should use carrots at your house. We're going to just roast these for about 30 minutes to make a good au jus with these bones. All right, so I've taken my lamb bones and I've mixed it with my mirepoix. Well, kind of poix because I don't have the carrots. So I just have my celery and my onions. And I'm going to roast these off, and then I'm going to add my salt, right? Because what does the Bible say about salt? Yandolo boho, right? So we need to be the salt of the earth. We add the salt to the bones with the olive oil. We're going to roast these off for about 45 minutes. I'll be back. But no, I'm serious, you all don't need to add a lot of oil to that. Why? Because as you can see, that lamb is really, really fatty, right? So you don't need to add oil to something that's already fatty. It's going to create its own. So that fat, once that renders off in that oven, like I said, for that 45 minutes, We're gonna take that, we're gonna need that oil just to come off a little bit. So we'll put it in the refrigerator just so that oil can come up and we can skim some of it off. But again, fat is flavor, so not too much of it off. And then that's gonna be the base for our au jus. All right, so what we're looking at now is the beginnings of our Gremolata. It's real simple. It's one bunch of parsley. I got about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic in here. That's the zest of 1 lemon. And then we're gonna put some walnuts. Now, in traditional pesto, you would have pine nuts. I don't like pine nuts, so I'm using walnuts. This is my take as the Holy Ghost leads, right? And so we're gonna take also the juice of 1 lemon, all right? So we're gonna squeeze that juice in there. As the song plays in the background, hey, if y'all didn't sing this song, your youth choir, the combined choir always sang on Easter. But if y'all didn't sing this on Easter Sunday, I don't know what kind of church you went to. This was the quintessential Easter song that everybody sang, No Greater Love. All right, so while that's playing, I'm gonna juice the other half of my lemon, and then we're gonna pulse this for about just a few moments, just till it all comes together. What's also in here that I didn't mention before is you also have red wine vinegar and olive oil. That's your liquid also that's gonna help process it. All right, our Gremolata is done. So what we see in here, this is real herbaceous, right? So we have our parsley, our lemon juice, our vinegar, all this. Y'all saw what I put in there. All right, so then once it came out, it needed just a little bit more seasoning, so I did add some salt. I added some basil. So I didn't have any fresh basil, so I used dry basil in this case. You all would probably be beneficial if you all use fresh basil, and then oregano. Why? Because oregano and lamb go together like peanut butter and jelly. All right, so we're just gonna put this, we're gonna smear this over our lamb breasts, and then we're gonna roll those up, tie them together with some kitchen twine, and then do a reverse sear. All right, everybody, so we have our lamb breast, fat side out, lean side in. All right, and so what we did, we just spread our little Gremolata on there. Now, you see, I didn't go all the way from end to end because we're gonna roll this up, and we don't wanna roll it such that everything spills out. So concentrate your Gremolata more in the middle, and we're just gonna roll it. Real simple. All right, nothing fancy, just roll it. All right, and the song's talking about why do we cry? I'm not crying. All right, that's y'all crying over there. It's Easter though. All right, so we're gonna roll it, and then we're gonna tie it so it's gonna look something like this, and then we're gonna season it. All right, so we're gonna roll it. We're gonna take some kitchen twine. We're gonna tie it up, and then we're gonna season it. All right, so we got our lamb all tied up. We got it anointed and blessed because we put some olive oil on there. And now we have our seasoning rub. So what's in this rub right here? All right, so we have some rosemary. Again, that's quintessential to a good lamb. So we got some rosemary, we have some oregano, some crushed red pepper, seasoned salt, garlic powder. This is a house seasoning, but just make sure you go heavy on the rosemary. All right, and so we're gonna sprinkle this on. All right, so while I'm doing this, hey, shout out to Kirk Franklin on this song right here. Only song I know where people do the exact opposite of what he told you to do. He said, don't cry. And if you didn't cry listening to this song on Easter, you a heathen. And if you disagree with me, email me. I promise we could talk about it. But hey, I couldn't make it through this song with a straight face, man. You gotta cry. All right, the lamb is all nicely seasoned. And now we're just gonna let it sit for, just a few moments, just for, let's say a half hour. All right, so it just bask in the glory. All right, and so all those seasonings can just permeate that fat. And then we're just gonna get ready to put it in the oven. And again, we're gonna reverse sear it. And I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. But it's all seasoned, it's all wrapped up and tied up, and we're just gonna let it sit for a while. All right, so now we're gonna make our chicken breast. Okay, so what we have here, we have 2 chicken breasts. I butterfly them, and all that simply means you just take your chicken and you just take your paring knife, and then you just cut into it. Just make a pocket. Okay, that's all we're doing. All right, and then we're gonna fill that with all kinds of deliciousness. So what are we gonna fill it with? We have some asparagus here. I have some brie cheese. And then this right here is simply a simple mixture of those caramelized onions I talked about in my last video. All right, so we have some caramelized onion, a little cream cheese, and I add a little Parmesan cheese. And then we have some roasted red peppers. And then we're gonna wrap it up in bacon since we're wrapping up and tying up stuff. All right, so check it out. All right, so what do we have here? I put the caramelized onions at the bottom. You got the roasted red pepper and then a slice of brie cheese. And then depending on the size of your chicken breast and the size of your asparagus, make sure you trim your asparagus too. All right, I'm just gonna use 2 because I think that's all it can really take. All right, so we're gonna just put 2 in here. And then we're gonna fold our chicken breast over, and then we're gonna have to tie it up with some toothpicks. All right, so what we see here is we have our chicken that we've stuffed with the asparagus, with the roasted red pepper, the cheese, and all that stuff. Now we're gonna wrap it in bacon, as you can see I did with this one. All right, so you wanna season your chicken, and we're gonna use the same seasoning that we used for our lamb, and make sure you season that really, really, really well. All right, and we're gonna rub it in, and then we're gonna wrap, okay? So you rub it, and then you wrap. All right. Now, if you notice here, you see I have my toothpicks, right? So the toothpicks serve two purposes. The purpose of the toothpicks is one, to hold in all the stuffing, and then two, to give you something for the bacon to hold on to when you wrap it. So you're gonna essentially hook our bacon onto these same toothpicks so that they don't shrivel up once you add them to the fire. All right, so our lamb has come out, our lamb bones. And as you can see, there's a lot of fat at the bottom, and we don't want that fat. We can always pull it to the side, and you can always use it to cook with later, but we're not gonna use it for our stock, right? And so in addition to having this, and all we're gonna do is take this, we're gonna add it to a pot and cover it with water to make our stock. We have a burning hot, sizzling skillet here, and we have our chicken breast all wrapped up and tied up in our bacon, all right? And so now we're gonna add this to the fire and let these cook for exactly 2 minutes on each side. All right, so right in here, we have our bones. I added 2 bay leaves, some garlic cloves, some rosemary, and some thyme. And then, of course, we got our chicken going over here. All right, so we're gonna let this settle on. We're gonna put this fire on a medium, cover this, and let this go for about an hour, okay? All right, so I flipped the chicken breast over. As you can see, one came out a little more Western snipes than the other. All right, and which is okay. All right, so 2 minutes on each side, and then we're gonna add it to the oven. So I cut my oven to 350, and we're gonna add it to the oven. We're gonna let it bake for 20 minutes. So we have our broth going for about an hour, and we're gonna have our chicken breast going for 20 minutes. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make our Pinot Grigio cream sauce. So how we're gonna start it? We're gonna do some onions. Let those cook. I'm not gonna let them brown. We're just gonna let them just cook for a few moments. Then we're gonna add our mushrooms to it, our Pinot Grigio. Now, if you're going keto or something, or you just, the Lord told you not to drink wine, then you can always add chicken broth. I'm gonna add Pinot and mushrooms, and then, hey, we have a Pinot Grigio cream sauce. All right, so we have this has been going about a minute and a half or so. As you can see, the onions are not brown, but they're kind of just turning a little. We don't want them to get real brown, right? Because we want to keep the cream sauce. And if we go too dark on it, it's gonna compromise our sauce. All right, so brown is normally good, but in this instance, we don't want to. So this is pretty good. And again, my fire was not up too high, a good medium. Now I'm gonna add my mushrooms. And then we're gonna go ahead and add a little garlic. All right, gonna let this go for about another minute. Just kind of let these mushrooms do their thing. And then we're gonna add our Pinot and then our cream sauce. All right, so I added my Pinot to this. I added about maybe a half cup of Pinot to this. All right, and so what we're gonna do now is add our heavy cream. And this has been going for a few moments. Heavy cream. Mix this. And then we're gonna season the taste, all right? All right, now in the meantime, we got our lamb, which I know you all didn't think I forgot about my lamb. We're gonna do a reverse sear. So what that means is we're gonna start this on a low temperature. So the chicken is in the oven, the chicken's about to come out in a few moments. And so I cut my oven down to actually 300. You can actually go as low as like 250. All right, but we're gonna go 300, and we're gonna go there for about an hour and a half on this lamb, and then we're gonna crank it up in that last few minutes. But go ahead and put your lamb in the oven, and we're gonna leave it in the oven for about an hour and a half. All right, cream sauce is coming together. So again, what's in here is mushrooms, onions, Pinot Grigio, and heavy cream. And we just let this go for a few minutes just to reduce. And then we're gonna add this to our chicken and to our mashed cauliflower. All right, we're taking the chicken out. Hey, if you know this song in the background, DeAndre Patterson said this song is for the young people. If you was young when you sang this song, you are now part of the senior choir. Trust me. All right, so chicken is out. It's stuffed full of caramelized onions, cream cheese, red bell peppers, asparagus, and it's wrapped in bacon. All right, and then we have our cream sauce that's gonna go on top of it. And then it's gonna go on top of some mashed cauliflower. So again, this is real keto friendly if you're trying to do the keto. So I try to do something for y'all. All right, and then we still got our lamb that's gonna come out in the oven in a minute. All right, so now we got the lamb still going. Chicken's out the oven. We're gonna make our mashed cauliflower, right? So, hey, they sell a whole lot of prepackaged mashed cauliflower. They sell a lot of the frozen bags of mashed cauliflower. Do not use that stuff. It's so full of water. We're gonna make mashed cauliflower, but it's gonna taste just like the real thing, just like mashed potatoes. And for me to say it, it's really gonna taste like that. All right, so real simple. All right, so here we go. We have some one head of cauliflower, and all I did was put a little chicken bouillon cube in there, a little paprika, and some onion powder, right? And just a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan. And we're gonna cover it and let it steam for a few minutes. We don't want to cook it until it's all mushy because, again, we're going to process this and mash it. And if we cook it too soft, it's going to be too mushy. It's not going to be good. All right, so guys, so we took our lamb out the oven. So we did the reverse here. So we let it cook for about an hour and a half on low. So we cooked it at about 250, 275. And then in the last 10 minutes, we cranked that oven up to make sure we can get a good brown, a good sear on there. We have our lamb au jus that we're working on right here. So we boiled that lamb meat down, those lamb bones down. Now we're gonna do our cauliflower. So in here we have our cauliflower. And to this, we added a little bit of butter. And to that, we're gonna add about 4 ounces of cream cheese. And we're gonna add some Parmesan cheese, mash that up, and it's gonna give you the consistency of a good mashed potato. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. So we have taken our lamb, we let it rest. And then, so for about 10 minutes, we let it rest. And now we have carved it. And then look at that. Now that's a good piece of medium. Yeah, that's about medium on your lamb. Hey, for real, y'all, stop cooking y'all lamb, y'all beef, even some of your pork. Stop cooking it well done. I'm starting to get concerned. I'm finna start unfriending some of y'all because I'm concerned. All right, so for real, look at that. That's juicy, that's succulent, that's everything. Look, you see the blood? Hey, when I see the blood, I will, hey, all right. It's not real blood, it's just juice. All right, so, but we do have, our lamb is ready. We're gonna plate it. So we have our mashed potatoes, well, not mashed potatoes, our mashed cauliflower, which honestly, you wouldn't know the difference between these mashed cauliflower and these mashed potatoes. It's a really good consistency. It tastes really good. Make sure you put that cream cheese in there. It helps to give it that mashed potato flavor. All right, so we're gonna plate that. We plated our chicken, and look at that, right? You see how the asparagus and the red bell peppers, cheese, all that stuff is in it. All right, so we're on the last step here. All right, so what we do is we poured a little bit of our au jus into a pan, and so we're just gonna add some Merlot, a little balsamic vinegar, and we're gonna add a whole stem of rosemary. And basically we're gonna let that steep. We're gonna let this cook down until it gets rather rich and syrupy, and then that's gonna be our covering for our lamb. All right, so we're gonna put a little red wine on the lamb as often as you do this, right? All right, so we're gonna do this, and then our lamb, we should be ready to plate shortly. We're gonna spoon our au jus over our lamb. And remember, that's Merlot wine. That's a little vinegar in there, and that's rosemary. Again, that's just fortifying all that good lamb flavor. All right. Your mouth should be watering. I know mine is. All right. And then we're going to do the chicken next. Because this sauce had a chance to sit a little longer and it's got a little bit more stuff in it as far as mushrooms and onions, it's a little thicker. It's okay. All right. I'm just going to put a little bit more sauce on each. And then we're going to be ready to taste this up. Taste. All right. Hey, it's been a journey. I'm trying to tell you, this one was good. It took a little while, but hey, I'm sure it's going to be all worth it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to try my lamb, all right, because I love lamb. So this is lamb breast, right? So again, we did a reverse sear on it. We did it with mashed cauliflower. So this is for all you keto people that was like, hey, you got any keto options? You know, what about the keto people, right? So this one was for you all. So with everything, with the exception of the wine, is keto friendly. So don't do the wine. Do broth instead. All right, but we're going to try the mashed cauliflower with the lamb. Holy is the lamb. That is good. Worthy is the lamb. That's all good. That Gremolata that was in there really helped season it from the inside to the outside. Hey, something on the inside, working on the outside. All right, now for the chicken. So we got a little chicken. Again, the mash. All in one fork here with the mushroom, the garlic, and all that, and then your Pinot Grigio cream sauce. Real good. Real good, real savory. You got that asparagus in there. That roasted red pepper comes through really, really good. And that sauce is amazing. So, hey, do something different for Easter. Do a little lamb, do a little chicken, but just, hey, reinvent it. Do something different with it. And you know, it's going to be delicious. This is the Easter special for Fat Boy Chronicles. So hopefully you join me next time. See you later.